Hey, check it. Hey, check it.
Está bien, está bien, está bien. Welcome in. As you can tell, we might have a special edition this week. It is the Spanish edition of our podcast. You'll find out why later. But before we get to that, let's go over last week. El Commish went 6-1, gets another win. I gave TJ a good shot to beat Steve. I thought that his team would be competitive, and it was a competitive game. He lost by 14, but C-Mac and Hunter Henry both got hurt. If they stayed healthy and he had a full team, he very well might have won the game. I thought it'd be close. I think it was close. I think I got that right. My gut said TJ would win. If he got a good game out of Dak, which he did, Dak got 30 points. So Dak definitely came through. So I think I got that call right. I also said pound the over with Mostert. Mostert got 34. I said it was a bad defense in Carolina, and he'd be running the ball with nobody else. I said Wilson might come in. He did not end up playing, so he got 34, as I expected him to have a big game. But I ultimately picked Steve, mostly because of his ridiculous, utterly ridiculous wide receivers, and they came through. Tyreek and Kupp alone combined for 50 points. However, the things I did miss, I said Mike Evans would have a game against Detroit because of Detroit's poor pass defense. That did not happen, which also helped lead to TJ's demise. And then I said Devontae Adams is just a touchdown beast. It doesn't matter who throws it to him. Well, he got 4 points. Well, swing and a miss there. But for the most part, I think I had a good week again. So 6-1, I will take it. And again, dang it, I had a perfect record going, and I took Ryan. Dang it, Ryan, you screwed me again. But moving on to this week's game preview, a special guest is joining me. He haunts your dreams as the Bobble Man, but I can promise you he is real, and he is doing the preview this week. Let's say hello to Andre.
What's going on, boys?
Yeah, that's right. You heard him. That is Andre. He is here doing the preview this week. And this week is our special week preview because our two Hispanic owners will fight till the death for the title of Rey de la Biblioteca. That translates loosely to best fantasy player of all time. So, we have Jose, the Fantasy Bastards, at 4-2. Frank of Hoopastank, also at 4-2. Yahoo predicts both of them right around 143. So, a very tight game. I mean, we have definitely got a tight cockfight back in the backyard this week. Bring your abuelas. Let's get this preview going. Andre has got Jose's preview, and I am going to preview the champ. So, starting off, Andre, who's Jose got at quarterback?
Jose has Matthew Stafford versus the Steelers, the bottom five defense. Stafford's been solid this year, and he's got his full complement of weapons. Against the bottom five defense, I think Stafford is en fuego this week and is a lock for a big game. And Jose also has Russell Wilson versus Green Bay. Oh boy, Mr. Vinegar Strokes, let's ride. Russ will be just fine and get some garbage time scores, so I expect Russ to have a bounce-back week and hold his own for Jose. With that, I pass down for a QB preview of Frank's squad.
Well, Frank has Sam Howell versus the Giants and Geno versus Zona. Talk about hot and cold Howell. This guy has had as many negative point games as he has had 30-plus point games. So while that is not good, he does get the Giants, and the Giants are terrible. They are the top 5 most pass yards, or allow the most top 5 pass yards in the league. So I do think that Howell has a pretty good game. I think he comes away with about 25, despite the fact that the over-under in the game is only 37. I basically think the Giants are the new Bears. So, moving on to Geno. Geno has been a huge disappointment this year. After a breakout season last year, he has failed to break 15 points 3 times. So that means in half of the games this year, you were probably better off starting someone else at the Superflex position. That is not good. So, that leaves him as a top 23 quarterback. I mean, he is barely a starter in a 2-quarterback format. But that's about to change. He plays a top 10, or I should say bottom 10 passing defense in Zona. I don't think that Zona has a whole lot going for them on the defensive side of the ball. Now, I do think that Kenneth Walker has a big day. So with Zona not having an even worse run defense, I think Walker really gets it going, and that is going to limit Geno. So I don't think Geno has the possibility to blow up, but I don't see him going under 250. I think 1 touchdown is a lock. I think 2 is very reasonable. I don't think he gets to 3. So I think he has a solid week, but nothing crazy. So as far as edge at the quarterback position, personally, I don't give a damn what Andre thinks. I am going with Frank. I do not trust Jose's quarterback. I think Frank has the edge this week at quarterback. Moving on to running back. Andre, who's on Jose got at running back?
So, Alan, Jose has DeAndre Swift versus the Fins. He's a top 7 RB, and you got to think the Eagles want to keep the ball out of Miami offense's hands. I think Swift is a Swiftie this week and gets it done. His second running back is Jonathan Taylor versus the Browns, who are top 5 rushing defense, and in my opinion, the Taylor train will be delayed for a week. The Browns' defense is legit, and the dog pound is tough. Pobrecito Jonathan Taylor. This is what will make or break the Fantasy Blasters this week with the RB advantage, in my opinion. But with that, passing it to Alan for a preview of Hoobastank's running backs.
Hoobastank, 850 with the inflation. Frank has Rachaad White versus Atlanta and Jalen Warren versus the Rams. Frank, muy malo at running back. I mean, it must be the bye weeks, right? Nope. He's just terrible at running back. These two might combine for the all-time maloness title. They are just not good. If Frank gets lucky, he might get 20 points out of his running backs combined. Considering that Rachaad White is in an over-under game of 37 points, I mean, the lowest on the week. I mean, I just don't know how Frank gets any production out of this group. If he gets over 20, I think, Frank, you should go play the lotto because this is not a good group for you. So, edge this week goes to Jose, but, man, that's like saying you're winning a beauty contest at a fat camp. I mean, anyone can beat Frank's running backs at this point. They're terrible. Frank, dear Lord, spend your fab, just bust out the wallet, get off of it, you cheapskate, get a decent running back for God's sakes. All right, moving on to the wide receivers. Andre, who's Jose got at receiver?
So Jose has Michael Pittman Jr. versus Cleveland, the top 10 defense, but Pittman Jr. is an underrated player who brings the goods. 3 weeks with 15-plus points and solid the rest of the weeks. In Pittman, we trust. Following it up, Jose's got Puka. Puka versus the Steelers, which is a bottom 5 defense. Puka is a suavecito matchup of the week. Super soft. Puka is going to eat even with Cup. That's just what I'm thinking here. And then finally, Jose wraps it up with Amari Cooper versus the Colts. A top 10 pass defense. Watson or P.J. Walker are forever unclean, and that leaves Amari in a bad situation. Passing it down.
All right, moving on to Frank's best group. Frank spent his first 4 picks on 3 receivers and a tight end. So this is where Frank should gain some ground. He has got Diggs versus the Pats, Devonta versus Miami, and Elijah Moore versus Indy. Unfortunately for him, Chase is on a bye week, so losing one of his big dogs. All right, Diggs is continuing to be Diggs. I mean, he has had sub-19 points and under 100 yards all of 1 time this year. It's a divisional game, so you would think that should slow him down, but it's versus the Pats. Sorry, Steve, and Chad, the Pats do not look good. They gave up 34 against NOLA and 21 to the lowly Vegas Raiders ever since they were ravaged by defensive injuries. I think Dig goes off this week. I think he is having a special year. While some receivers are always good, all great receivers have that outlier year. And I think this might be Diggs' special year. So I really think Diggs has a big week this week, despite the fact that it's a divisional game. Just call that a gut feeling. Devonta's a little tougher to predict. He has as many single-digit games as he does double-digit games. I don't think Hurts can support two wide receivers, not in the same game. So is it Devonta or is it Brown? I don't know, man. I think Miami sells out to try to stop AJ, and Miami's good enough on defense to stop a receiver. Fangio's defense has not been as good as expected. Ramsey is officially out this week. As a Dolphins fan, I was really hoping that wasn't the case, but he is. So I think that Miami slows down AJ, which should boil over to success for Devonta. And in that game, it's the highest over-under of the week at 52. So if Diggs and Devonta both have very good weeks, Frank is looking good. Moving on to Elijah Moore. I mean, dear Lord, this is like your running backs, Frank. No Deshaun starting, yuck. Like double yuck. Like quadruple yuck. Puke on myself, yuck. I mean, I just don't understand. Frank hit the waiver wire. I mean, you're playing against Cooper, so, I mean, I guess if Moore has a good week, the silver lining is Cooper shouldn't have a good week, because there is no way one of these Cleveland quarterbacks, I don't even know who's starting. Is it DPJQB? I don't know. Or who's the other guy? PJQ2? Who cares? They're terrible. Like, they're going to throw the ball like 4 times. Like, I don't know what you're thinking, Frank. This guy shouldn't even be on your team, let alone starting. Yeah, that's just bad. But that being said, I still give the advantage to Frank because I think Diggs and Devonta both go off. I think they both can get over 20 points this week. I think they have really large weeks. I like Frank's wide receiver group. And for the pick of the game, which we're not there yet, we'll get to it. But I think this is actually the group that makes the biggest difference. If I'm wrong here and Jose's group goes off, which is possible. I mean, I actually do like Jose's receivers. If I'm wrong here, I think this is where the game swings. So I think a big deal watching this wide receiver group for the game this week. All right, moving on to tight ends. Andre, you have got the king of tight ends, Jose. He drafted 3. So how's he looking at tight end this week?
He drafted 3, but my goodness. Well, Jose has Jonnu Smith versus the Bucks, the number 2 tight end on the Falcons. But, you know, he's also Arthur Smith's love child from the Titans, so he's relevant. Jonnu versus the Buccaneers is muy interesante indeed. Yet, Jonnu lives and dies by the touchdown. I think this week, Arthur Smith's dick chicken partner has a bad week. Passing the town.
All right, if you don't know what dick chicken is, you really got to turn it into the league. Moving on. Mark Andrews. Yeah, he's good. So Mark Andrews, while not having the bust-out year that we might have anticipated, he's still good for about 15 points a week. I think this week he's actually my lock for a TD. That worked really good for me last week with Devontae Adams scoring all of 4 points, and I guaranteed him for a touchdown. So I wouldn't bet on it, but my lock of the week this week is Mark Andrews for a touchdown. He gets Detroit. Detroit's a bad defense. Baltimore's defense is, coming in, finding its kind of own after a lot of injury. Lamar is also finding his stride in a new offense. I just think that Andrews is going to be, is and has been where this offense goes through. So I think he gets a touchdown this week. I think he has a good week. And I mean, he's going against Henry. Henry's terrible. Jose, find a free agent tight end. Kyle Pitts 2 weeks in a row looks alive. I mean, yes, the guy exists. So hopefully getting better for Atlanta. But we are moving on to the flex, the last position. and then we will pick the game. Andre, who's Jose got at the flex?
Jose has Romeo Dobbs versus Denver. Romeo, a.k.a. Mr. Cabeza de Queso, a.k.a. Mr. Cheesehead. Romeo either gives Jose the lovin' or he gives him nothing. Romeo versus the Broncos. Goal! Touchdown. Passing it down.
I actually do like Dobbs for a goal this week, but Frank has the famous Spaniard, Sam Laporta. The Spanish king has been dominating all year, scoring like a Mormon schoolgirl going on spring break at a non-Mormon school. Yeah, I said that. Actually, the league said that. But whatever. I think that the Spanish king, Sam Laporta, has a great week. Why? Solely because he gets the Spanish bump in our Spanish preview. Other than that, I got to be honest, he's going up against Dobbs, and Dobbs gets Denver's defense. I don't actually think Sam Laporta is going to outscore Dobbs this week. I am taking Jose for the advantage at the flex. So, all that being said, I will let Andre make his pick of the week, but let's be real, we're waiting for my pick because I am damn near undefeated. But Andre, who do you got?
Oh boy, I'm going up against Mr. Almost Undefeated. I'm going to go with Jose to take the big W here due to the RB advantage in this matchup. I think it'll be a close one, but I'm going to take the fantasy bastards in this one.
Wrong. That was my version of the Trump wrong gif. But yes, wrong. I do not. I am going with my stone cold lock of the week of the champ, Frank. I think your receivers get it done. You will earn the title of Rey de la Biblioteca. That being said, our preview is over. That's it, boys. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace out.
Put the place up, yeah, we know what we made of. Can't get enough of you, blew up.